Good evening. This is Monday, April 17th, 2023, and we are here for a governing body meeting. And I will ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Mayor Dunn is present and presiding. Councilmember Phila.
Here.
Councilmember Rawlings.
Here.
Councilmember Sipple.
Here.
Councilmember Kane.
Here.
Councilmember Azeltine.
Here.
Councilmember Harrison is absent. Councilmember Larson.
Here.
Councilmember Osmond.
Here.
Thank you. The next item of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. So as you're able, please rise and we will face the flag. All right, thank you. The next item is the approval of the agenda, and I would just note that item 13A has a stipulation correction regarding 19 lowercase b, parent b, parent, and that is in front of you at the dais. So that is just one item. But having no other modifications, I would entertain a
Move for
motion.
approval as amended.
Second.
A motion from Mr. Rawlings, second from Ms. Phila. If there's no discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. It's approved unanimously. Thank you. We'll move on to citizen comments. And Rachel Rubin, you've signed in to speak regarding 13A. I'm looking, oh, there you are. So I'll call on you when we get to that item. And a non-agenda item, Bob Britell. And if you could come forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
Bob Bertell, 9221 Wananga Road, Leawood, Kansas, 66206. At the last session, I set out the case that the only reason I could see that our legislature would lie is that they have been radicalized by the mayor of Leawood, and that got a lot of kickback from Deborah. So I wanted to provide some proof on that. Voting records, voting records too. Donation records to campaigns are public record. They're available at either fec.gov for federal elections, or I think there's another one called opensecrets.org. So it's not a secret who gives who to what. But this week, in the last 2 weeks, as the Kansas legislature has taken away parents' rights to help their children live in the bodies that they want to live in, Elaine Bowers, who Peggy funded, was a yes on that. So she doesn't want people to have control of their own bodies in the same way that Peggy doesn't want people to have control over their own bodies, but only women. So last time I was here, Jim, I think you chuckled at the notion that silence is complicity. I just wanted to give you an opportunity to explain why you thought that was funny.
I'm not going to respond.
No,
I don't
okay.
recall doing that.
That's, again,
Well,
since they're recording.
fine.
So you
This
just
is a
responded.
time
This-
for
this-
you,
this-
Mr.
just do your
Patel,
thing,
to do your
okay?
citizen comments, not have a conversation
right.
with council.
Why won't you talk to me?
Because it's your time.
And if I want to talk to you, is that okay? Can you
Not
respond?
here.
Can you respond?
Not here, no.
What? Where, if not here?
You can call me or make an
Okay.
appointment.
So you're fantastic. By the way, that was the night before the anniversary of Martin Luther King's assassination, and he's widely regarded as having been one of the two people that set that out, but I don't think that was noted in the council's agenda. So you're going to have some sort of recognition of National Therapy Dog Day, which just, I find that rich. I think it's pet partners that you're going to be lauding this evening. So their position statement on therapy dog breeds says, and I quote, "We are not aware of any evidence suggesting that any breed or breed mix is unsuitable to serve as a therapy dog, except in Leawood," right? Because they're inherently dangerous. Here's an organization that provides therapy dogs to disabled veterans, and they are called Operation Sidekick. And it says Thousands of pit bulls are killed in shelters every week across the United States. These dogs have been plagued with a horrible stigma that is completely unjustified. They've been abused, abandoned, blah, blah, blah. Yet pit bull dogs often come with only an insatiable love for human attention and a strong work ethic, which you know because in Patty's last law that you changed to take my rights away, and other people's rights, really, everybody in the city of Leawood, it had a breed standard that set out that those dogs were no different than any other, in fact, quite affectionate and loving. Here's another organization, Pits for Patriots. They train rescue dogs, all pit bulls. They are a Chicagoland-based organization, and they say that those dogs are some of the most loyal, devoted, and committed dogs they've ever worked with, but not in Leawood. Michael Vick, anybody familiar with him? Played quarterback here for the Chiefs, and I think under Andy Reid in Philadelphia. So Michael Vick's dogs were rehabilitated because a federal judge intervened and allowed those dogs to be treated as individuals. At least 4 of those went on to become therapy dogs, but none of those would be okay in Leawood, because in Leawood, mysteriously, we live in a world of gaslighting, lying, fear-mongering, and amplification. And again, I really think that's the right-wing extremism coming through. So I'd like to know also, as I sign off here, I'm running out of time, when and how hard you're going to lean into the Johnson County Sheriff for his activity in investigating an election that was free and fair. And there we have it. So Andrew, good luck running for mayor. I hear you're going to be doing that because I guess Peggy's not able to get elected after her yes on 2 debacle. So I'll see you out there. Have a good night all.
That concludes our citizens who've signed in to speak on non-agenda items. So we'll move now to the proclamation. And we have a proclamation this evening on National Therapy Animal Day. Whereas Pet Partners has designated April 30th as National Therapy Animal Day, whereas Pet Partners therapy animal teams interact with a variety of people in our community, including veterans, seniors, patients, students facing literacy challenges, and those approaching end of life. Now, therefore, I, Peggy Dunn, Mayor of the City of Leawood, Kansas, do hereby proclaim April 30th, 2023 as National Therapy Animal Day in the City of Leawood and encourage our citizens to celebrate our therapy animals and their human handlers. Further, I publicly salute the service of therapy animal teams in our community and in communities across the nation. And this proclamation will be mailed to the requester. Going now to, and that was actually listed under presentations and recognitions. So we go now to special business, approve the city administrator's recommendation of the appointment of Don Cawby as Director of Finance and Treasurer effective May 8th, 2023. Ms. Stoddard, would you like to make some comments?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Mayor, members of the City Council, it's my pleasure to recommend to you the appointment of Don Cawby to be the City of Leawood's next Director of Finance and Treasurer. He has over 28 years of direct financial experience working for state and local government, with 21 of those years heading up as the highest-ranking financial expert in the organizations for which he worked. Mr. Cawby is currently serving as the Director of Finance for the City of Shawnee and has previously served as City Manager for several cities in Kansas and served in several financial and administrative roles for the state of Kansas. He has also taught local government finance to local government professionals through the League of Kansas Municipalities and also to the University of Kansas Public Administration graduate students. Mr. Cawby has a master's in public administration degree from the University of Kansas and a Bachelor of Arts from Emporia State University. And so should this be approved this evening, Mr. Cawby would be prepared to start in his new position on May the 8th. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you for that. And I had the pleasure of meeting and visiting with Mr. Cawby, and his experience is pretty amazing and extensive, and I think he will be a wonderful addition to our group of professional staff. So, other questions? Mr. Azeltine?
What did Mr. Cawby do for the state of Kansas?
He had a couple of roles for the state of Kansas. He worked in the budget office at one time and worked very closely with preparation of the state budget. And also he worked for the Racing and Gaming Commission.
Oh, great.
Any other questions?
Move to approve?
Second.
Motion from Ms. Villa to approve the appointment, and a second from Mr. Azeltine. If there's no further discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, nay. It's approved unanimously, and we would certainly look forward to welcoming him. So thank you for the good job you did with the search committee. Thank you. 7B is Leawood Chamber of Commerce update, and I'm happy to welcome Stephanie Meyer, who's going to give us a quarterly report.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
It's
you.
great to be here. For those of you who don't know, I come from local government, so this feels like home, being back in a council chambers. So great to be here. Wanted to share a little bit. I know it's been a little while since the chamber has come before you with an update, so I thought I would be a bit more general in scope tonight and just tell you a little bit about what's been going on in the chamber in the last 6 months somehow it's been since I started, and kind of where we're heading in the future. So you should have that in your packet, but happy to take any questions or go into further detail on any of those items there. So I just want to start overall with what our staff looks like now. So we are excited to have 4 full-time staff members with us now. We have Alan and Taylor, who you probably have known previously, who were fantastic and great through the transition as well. So they are still on board. Taylor has taken on actually an additional role, so she's a vice president of programming and communications now. So we have both of those fantastic individuals, and 3 weeks ago added a full-time membership director for the first time in a couple of years. So you'll be seeing Melissa Cole if you haven't already. She was a great chamber member and actually an ambassador for us before this. So she started just a few weeks ago and has already hit the ground running. So excited to have her, and you will see her around as well. So also want to touch a little, you'll see there in the budget, I included just kind of overarching financial picture there. So you'll see operating revenue from 2022 was just under $525,000, and you can see broken out in a few categories there. So membership dues is obviously the biggest part of that. Also special events, we have a few that I'll chat about here, and then contracts in the EDC, which of course includes our support from the City of Leawood, which we are very appreciative of. So thank you again for that. And then on the operating side, again, I think probably like most chambers, our greatest expense is wages and salary. Of course, we're a people organization, so you'll see that breakdown there, and happy to go into any further details on that, but wanted to give you kind of just a general overview of your chamber dollars at work in the last year. So the next page, then you'll see our board. So a great group of folks. Christopher Kurtz, who is actually with Mr. Musel's firm, Rouse, Fretz, White, Goss, Gentile, and Rhodes, is our board chair right now and has been fantastic. And you'll see the makeup of the rest of our boards there. So we think it's a really great cross-section of businesses here in Leawood and throughout the Kansas City community. I'm really doing good work here in the city for you all. So in terms of members then, we have 425 members as of the end of March. Excited to say that in 2023 alone, we already have 18 new members, and that was last week when I sent this, and we have 2 new members since then. So really excited about the growth that we've been seeing here at the Chamber. We know that will continue certainly with having a full-time membership director on board as well. So that number will grow. Overall, we're at about 85% retention rate. So again, I think that's showing that people are really excited about what the Chamber is doing, about being in Leawood and being a part of the community, and certainly the city there as well. So a high retention rate. We have just about 1,600 folks who kind of make up that full universe of the Chamber, and growing. So we're very excited about that. And you can see the membership breakdown by category there at the bottom. So perhaps not surprisingly, nearly half of our members are small businesses, so 9 employees or under, which is really great. We've actually heard a lot from them. I've heard since I've started a lot from them, so we're actually starting some specific programming tailored really towards those small businesses. We're starting our small business series that will kick off with Small Business Week. That is the beginning of May, and so it's going to offer an opportunity to kind of learn about topics that are going on and relevant for the small business folks, but also allow some networking time as well. So I think it'll be quarterly. We're seeing how it goes, but it's been a strong start. I think we've kind of filled out all the spots for our first one, so we're excited to kick that off to tailor towards those folks as well. Also, you have a listing of our sponsors. Obviously, we're very appreciative of those folks as well. You can see a full listing. Again, a great cross-section of the Leawood community and Kansas City at large, and companies who are really investing here in Leawood. So we're very happy about that. And then I'll just talk a little bit about our programming and events. So we had 52 events last year, so average of 1 a week. So Taylor was very busy. we were all very busy. 13 of those were ribbon cuttings, so that was great. We've had, I think, 4 this year, with several more on the books as well. So that continues to be very popular. A vast majority of our members are very engaged. So 83% of our members attended at least 1 event in the last year, which is great. And again, just hopefully speaks to the quality of the events as well. A couple of special events I did want to call out and have on your calendar. We have a golf tournament every year, the At the Tee tournament, so over at Iron Horse. We're doing that again on July 19th, so we've mixed it up a little bit. It had previously been a smaller 9-hole tournament. We've doubled the number of golfers, and we're making it a full 18 holes. We did sell out of all of our golf spots, I think, a week and a half in, so that was fantastic for us. So you can't quite golf yet unless you've already signed up, but we would love sponsors, so we're still taking those folks as well. But that's coming up on the 19th. And then I'm really excited about Taste of Leawood this year. So this year we have the opportunity, thank you guys, to partner with the City of Leawood to kick off the 75th anniversary celebration weekend. So we will be the Friday, October 6th event for Taste of Leawood. We are also opening it up to the public again this year. So really looking forward to having a bigger event, letting more folks come in and just show off all of the great restaurants here in Leawood. So you'll be hearing more about that, certainly, but really excited. October 6th and moving to a Friday, which we've heard from our restaurant partners is a little bit better than a Saturday evening. So just excited all around for that to come up. And then lastly, our annual meeting, always a fun event. We are switching that up a little bit as well. We're bringing it back to Leawood, so it will move from the Convention Center in Overland Park to the venue in Leawood, and we're making it kind of more of a happy hour, sort of fun, hopefully, event from 4 to about 7. So it'll be kind of a casual time for folks to mingle and really just sort of celebrate a great year in their business and just have some fun as well. So. Yeah.
Did you say you're moving it to an evening event?
Yes, so it's going to be, I would say, late afternoon. So Thursday, 4 to 6. So it's going to be kind of food stations. We're going to have some cocktails available for folks as well. So just a little different, yeah.
Okay, well, I saw the date in your report when I reviewed the packet, and I actually moved a luncheon that the city was having for their employees. So we may have to rethink that and move our luncheon back to
We
your
can do
date.
whichever you prefer.
No,
Yeah.
you do your event in the evening, but we might talk tomorrow about moving ours back to your. But we really appreciate your collaboration, your desire to work with us at our 75th anniversary weekend, and all the things, the great initiatives you put in place, Stephanie, since you've arrived. So
I appreciate that.
Thank you
you
very much.
Yeah, you bet.
Questions?
Yeah,
Jim?
Stephanie, I'm so glad to see Taste of Leawood back. What's been the reaction from the restaurants, those that are still here in the new restaurants?
It's been very positive. So I think we're confident we're going to have more restaurants than we had last year. We heard from all of them universally that the October timeline is a little better than what it's been, and the Friday is much better. So they're not losing a full Saturday evening dinner service as a part of that. And they are all thrilled, I think, that we're opening it up to the public again. So there are going to be a lot more folks coming through and seeing those restaurants and being able to kind of get a sample of that. So I think it's going to be really positive.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other question, Julie? Ms. Kane?
I want to thank you, too, for bringing back the Taste of Leawood and the collaboration, the new renewed collaboration between our chamber and the city of Leawood. I never understood why there wasn't more collaboration, so yay to you and your team. Where might the Taste of Leawood, you know where that's going to physically happen?
Absolutely. So same location. So it's going to be the Town Center parking lot. We've spoken with the Town Center folks already. They're just going to give us more of the parking lot. So we'll have a little more space to accommodate a larger crowd.
Great. And then thank you for taking your annual meeting or bringing your annual meeting back to Leawood as well. So thank you again. It's great to see this new life and new energy. Thank you very much.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Any other questions? We really appreciate the quarterly report, and thank you for coming and presenting, and it's good to see you. And I know you haven't been at the chamber that long, and you've made lots of changes.
Yes.
So
Thank you.
we appreciate your good work.
I appreciate that. I appreciate your work as well. And it's been really fun being able to partner with the city. So I'm excited for that to continue as well. So
All right.
thank you guys.
Thank you so much. We'll go now to consent agenda items 8A through H. Is there anything anyone would like to pull for discussion? Mr. Sipple,
Just 8A, please.
8A. Anything else? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve, please.
Move to approve?
Second.
Motion from Ms. Phyllis, second from Ms. Larson to approve the remaining portion of the consent agenda. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. It's approved unanimously. Thank you. 8A is accept appropriation ordinance numbers 2023-13 and 2023-14. Mr. Sipple?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is a question either for Loretta or for Diane. One of the major expenditures we had was for $187,000 for the Aquatic Center building. Is this our final payment, or have we reached the final payment and closed that account out for the rebuilding of the swimming pool house?
It might be a question for Ms. Claxton. Do you want her to come?
Yes, I think if Ms. Claxton might be able to come, that would be great, unless Ms. Morgan happens to know the answer.
Ms. Morgan left.
Ms. Claxton is coming in.
Here she comes.
Here she comes.
Yep.
Here she comes.
Thank you. I did hear the question, and it is not the final.
It's not the final.
no.
Did we come in on budget, or have there been some overruns?
There've been some overruns, but I don't have the detail in front of me, so I can't be real specific, but the final will be minimal.
Okay, I just wonder, what kind of overrun? If you could just give us a percentage, 5%, 2%, 10% overrun, that's just the number I was interested in.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I don't know the
Well,
number, but I'm happy to find out, and I'll send something.
Thank you very much, Chris.
You're welcome.
Move to approve.
Second?
Motion from Mr. Sipple, second from Ms. Larson. Any further discussion? It might be change orders, too.
Right.
Not
No,
necessarily overruns. So if there's no further discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. It's approved unanimously. Thank you. Going to the mayor's report, I was joined at the Johnson County Commission Chairman Mike Kelly's State of the County address by council members Rawlings, Larson, Harrison, Sipple, and Kane, as well as Diane Stoddard and other department heads. And this very informative event was sponsored by the Johnson County Public Policy Forum. The next morning, this same group of attendees joined me at the 7 Days Kindness Breakfast that was held at the Church of the Resurrection in Leawood. And I believe Councilmember Larson also participated in the Kindness Walk
I did.
that took place yesterday in the freezing cold.
It was kind of windy,
Yeah,
yes.
so thank you for your participation. Police Chief Finger and I attended the Curie of Ours Dare graduation, where Officer Cody Morse leads the very well-run program. The April Johnson and Wyandotte Counties Council of Mayors was hosted by Gardner Mayor Todd Winters at the Warren Place, which is beautiful new event space in Gardner. And the bulk of our meeting was spent, which won't surprise you, talking about the legislative matters and their impact on municipalities. And my thanks to Chris Claxton and Stacy Stromberg for assistance in arranging a Ramadan iftar dinner sponsored by Dr. Ayoub Bassin and the Dialogue Institute of Kansas City. Council members Larson and Harrison also attended, as well as Diane Stoddard, Chief Finger, and Fitzgerald, and members of their leadership teams and other professional staff and volunteers. It was a great evening, so thank you all. I joined Fire Chief Colin Fitzgerald and City Administrator Diane Stoddard at the Heart Safe Heroes celebration, which was held at Johnson County Community College last week. And there were 5 representative cases that were presented at this event. We have a Leawood resident whose name is Jeff Vickers, who had an event at his home in 2021. They didn't have this event last year due to COVID, but in November of 21, he was actually collapsed at his home with his wife present, who immediately started CPR and then called 911. When the paramedics arrived at the scene, he was completely dead, and they brought him back to life, resuscitated him. He made a full neurologically intact recovery, and the personnel on hand that were there to be recognized included Mark Estepari, and I really should have Chief Fitzgerald help me with these names, Damon Harrison, Julian Rhodes, Jeremy Jones, and Jeff Anderson, who has since retired, as well as Andy Harper and Jason Webb. It was a very moving presentation with the 911 call, and Ms. Stoddard was nice enough to videotape it for me because I had to leave before the final presentation. We were going to play it for you, but the sound is just not adequate. So we won't go through that, but my sincere appreciation and congratulations to all of them. And Chief Fitzgerald, if you'll share our appreciation with those involved. Thank you. Congratulations are also appropriate for Councilmember Julie Kane, who on Friday will have 15 years on the City Council. Maybe you didn't even know that.
I did because I got a lovely note.
All right. And Councilmember...
I couldn't remember if it was 14 or 15.
15
so.
years. Councilmember James Esseltine, who today is marking 17 years. Wow. And Councilmember Deborah Filla, who this Wednesday is marking 19 years. So time flies when you're having so much fun, yes, doesn't it? So congratulations and thank you to all of you for your longtime service to our community.
You sure it's only been 17 years?
I know.
Big ones.
So thank you. That concludes my mayor's report. We have no council members' report this evening. Ms. Stoddard, did you have no city administrator report? We have no staff reports. We go now to committee recommendations. Item 13A is an ordinance approving a rezone from SDNCR Planned Neighborhood Retail to MXD Mixed Use Development District, preliminary plat for Oxford Promenade, located at the southwest corner of 135th Street and Mission Road. And before we hear from the applicant, Mr. Klein, do you want to talk about this stipulation correction for 19B, please?
Yes, the stipulation correction is kind of a clarification. On public art impact fees, they only apply to non-residential and not residential. So we put that in the stipulation as far as to clarify that it is just non-residential. And then in the staff report, a correction as far as it used a larger number than what should have been used as far as kind of an estimate of what the impact fees would be. And of course, the impact fees were done actually at the time of final, but it was shown in there, so we corrected that as well.
Very good. And that was communicated to the applicant, was it?
Yes,
Or is this now
Yes.
communicated?
Yes.
Okay. Very good. Thank you for that.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Musil, are you presenting?
Depends on the level of enthusiasm, Mayor. Are you presenting? I'm sorry. Greg Musil, 5250 West 116th Place, Suite 400, Leawood 66211, with the law firm of Rouse Fretz. Thank you. I appreciate the amendment. I may look at Patty at some point because it's a clarification, so what I want to make sure of is that normally if you change the planning commission recommendation, it takes a 2/3 majority.
We don't need that tonight. I already checked.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking tonight, a lot of times people on the dais or behind me think that every time you come up here, it's just the same old thing and it's the same old, it's just a job. I'm excited about this project because of the amount of time that we put into it. And the team behind me has done a great job. The team that Mark has and your fire department and your public works department have done a great job helping us find a way to do something different and really unique in Leawood. Behind me, I have Kenny and George Zhao, who are the owners of Royal Investment. NSPJ is represented by Brad Huss and Clint Evans for the architecture. Doug Ubben is here from Phelps Engineering. And Michael Hare is here from Merge Midwest that performed the traffic impact analysis. Mr. Sharp is here. This property is owned by the Sharp family, the Sharp Trust, and he wanted me to convey that they appreciate the work of your staff and the Planning Commission and are here tonight to support the project, as you might suspect. That didn't work right. So I'm going to go through a slide presentation, and I know Ms. Rubin is here, and one of the things the Planning Commission was surprised about was that we were there with no opposition, no neighbors, no written opposition, and so I want to kind of go through because I know you are very protective of the 135th Street corridor and the single-family neighbors around there. So I hope I don't overdo it tonight, but I want to make sure that we talk about the kind of things that you are normally concerned about, whether somebody's here concerned or not. You're familiar with the area. It's 135th and Mission southwest corner. The second, the slide in front of you is the site plan. This was filed in November. We've been working on it almost a year. Mark is probably tired of it, although he's had great input in it. And we moved from Ricky Sanchez to Dan Fernandez as our staff member 2. There's been a lot of effort in here by a lot of different people. I mentioned in my email to you the word unique. How many times, you don't have to raise your hand, but how many times have you heard that in 19 years, 17 years, however many years? But I truly think this is because it has vertical mixed use, which we don't see except maybe in Park Place. It has 2 incredible promenades, and I'm glad you pronounced it, Mayor, because I didn't know whether promenade or promenade, but I'll go with promenade, that are truly unique in Johnson County and maybe in the metropolitan area, because even the plaza doesn't have the size of areas where we can have public spaces, activities, engagement of the public. We're going to do things, as you read, electric vehicle charging stations. We're going to make the residential buildings solar ready. We're going to have bike racks. We're going to take the pond, the detention area, and turn it into a feature with a fountain in it and water all the time with a walking trail around it and some shelters around it, so it can be used not just by the residents of the multifamily, but also by the employees of the retail and the office and by the general public. Shoppers that come in here are people that just want to walk from Aventino or other developments. So it's got some things that I think are pretty cool. I'm going to try this with the mouse, but along 135th Street, the red buildings are retail buildings. And we'll see some renderings later. We have partnered with Legacy Development to try to find some new to market niche retailers that you might not see, not the standard, not kind of the standard that you see in every other shopping center. That is the goal. The kind of purplish buildings are the mixed-use buildings. The one on the west side to the left, where my cursor is retail on the bottom level and 3 stories of residential above it. The one on the right is 1 level of retail, a 2nd story of office, and then 2 stories of residential. So it's got both office and retail in it in both the east-west leg and the north-south leg. And then the 3 buildings that are just yellow over here are purely multifamily. The southeast corner is a 3-story office building. This big gray area is a parking deck, and underneath it is an underground parking level. So we have 2 levels of parking for those 3 residential buildings. You will drive off Montana right onto the top one, and to get to the bottom one, you will come off 137th and go underneath the other deck. So it is an underground development. The nice part about this is you save some parking because there isn't a ramp between the 2. You don't have to take up space to, make a ramp down to the other level. And all of them are surrounded basically by buildings. So they're virtually invisible from a public right-of-way. As you drive by, you'd be able to glance in to see the parking lot. There's also 2 parking levels under this north-south leg of the eastern building. Again, that you drive into. One is underground and then one is at grade level. So there's structured parking on the facility. One of the things we're very excited about is the amount of open space under your ordinance. Your ordinance requires MXD to have 30% open space. I misspoke yesterday in my email. I told you 44%. That was a number that it was one point in there. As we finish it, it's 42%. So I was mistaken. We have 42% open space instead of 30%. It's shown here in the green is kind of the required open space. The more pinkish down here by the water feature and this lawn area, that is additional areas that can be engaged by the public. I don't know if you want to do Frisbee, you want to go out and do a picnic, you've got those. And then the blue T is the promenade, with 2 promenades, which we're going to feature a little bit more. But we're very pleased with vertical construction. Going a little taller allows you to have more open space. Structured parking allows you to have more open space than we're used to in suburban America, where we spread out a parking lot over virtually all of the space. The next slide is connectivity, because I know that's important to you, and I know it's important to modern developments. The green, again, is the promenade, but the blue is internal sidewalks. And what we've tried to do, and staff has pushed us to do, is connect the multifamily, the mixed use, office and retail down here to the retail that's up on 135th. I'm going to show you a little later, these 2 sides here along the drive are kind of a protected sidewalk for pedestrians. They're separated from the drive aisle. And we also have other north-south connection sidewalks as well as east-west. The red shows how we're connected to the rest of the neighborhood. So that this isn't, what we obviously want to do is bring people in from the neighborhood. It's walkable. You approved Aventino as a little bit of a difference along 135th, but these are going to give people connectivity and ability to walk to different shops and stores really than they have west of Row, because that's already developed and it's not as much retail as it is office. So we're excited about the connectivity of the site. This is really to kind of show, and we'll show it more in the renderings, but the different colors represent different heights. So when you design architecturally, and what NSPJ has done beautifully here is move the roof lines around. So there's nothing that looks monolithic or institutional here. And I think the renderings will show that even more, but this is how we portrayed it here. Phasing is an estimate and totally based on what the market thinks it's going to do for us. We are not in the best of markets right now with financing or with the retail, marketplace, and certainly not with office. But the phasing that we believe is going to happen is the retail along 135th in phase 1 and 2. Phase 3 includes the western residential buildings with the western mixed-use building. Phase 4 is the eastern mixed-use building and then Phase 5 is the office. We know that office is a challenge along 135th. You've heard it before. Your 15% minimum requirement of all the square footage to office is a difficult thing to fit. That's why we have a second story of office and an office building. We will also have some office uses in the clubhouse for the residential where people can come in and work, when they're working remote. But the office will be probably the biggest challenge. Going back to the site plan, those numbers, if you see on there, are very little. But we go with 1, 2, and then we come inside, and that's what the renderings are going to show. So I kind of wish we had 2 screens. We could put these side by side. But I think I'll describe to you what we have. This is if you're headed eastbound on 135th, and you're going to turn into the main drive, the north-south drive. You can see, I think, the quality of the architecture, the difference in height, the articulation of the buildings, a lot of glass, which is intended here. Then when you turn and you're looking south, you look down first the road table, which is going to be a raised table. So it's intended to separate and let you know you are on the drive area now. And if you're going east and west to cross those 2 pedestrian crosswalks, it's a signal that it's a traffic calming device, and it's a signal. This is a crossing area. So it will slow traffic down, and again, we think help the pedestrian connectivity here. This looks all the way south to 137th Street. This is, if you're internal and you're looking back to the northwest, you just came in that drive over here by this red car, and you're looking back at the shops up along 135th Street. And an idea of the architecture that will be there. You get a sense of, here's the sidewalk that will connect north and south that shows you a little bit of the protection. We'll have a better view in a moment. Here you're going down further toward the main buildings. You see this gate here. This was something we had to work out a lot with your fire department, because those promenades aren't just sidewalks. They are also where your fire trucks will go, because they have to be a certain closeness to the buildings in order for your ladder trucks to work. So those have to be built extra sturdy, extra strong. The east-west promenade is 46 feet wide from building to curb. So that's a lot of extra cost to do that. And the north-south one is built the same way. It's a little narrower, and it has some grass and other planting things on the either side of it. But the gate is so that cars know you don't drive on down that, but it's removable in the event the fire department needs to get in there. We worked with the fire department and really demonstrated that there's no barrier on the south end of the building on 137, so they can come up that anytime they want, but they'll also be able to get in from the north end if they need to. This is looking toward the southwest of the mixed-use building. This is the clubhouse, so it's a 2-story clubhouse for the residential. And then on the west, you have the lower story retail and 3 stories of multifamily. To the back in here is where the pool area is, and then the rest of the building down there to the south. You get a sense here of the east-west promenade that goes fully in front of the building and is really public space. Then this looks back east past the clubhouse toward the mixed-use building with lower-level retail, second-story office, and then 2 stories of residential on top of that. And you get really here a sense of how wide this area is. So it's not just cramming a cafe like we did during COVID, where you can put 2 tables on a sidewalk and leave a few feet on the outside for people to walk. This is going to allow people to do a lot more activities on what normally would be called a sidewalk or promenade. I meant to talk about earlier, why is it called Oxford Promenade? You're familiar with the Oxford Schoolhouse. I looked it up. 1877 to 1950, it taught school. In 2003, you moved it to Iron Horse. So Oxford, 2 large promenades, Oxford Promenade. That is not I did not come up with that. I had to ask why we named it that, and somebody explained it to me. But I think it fits kind of the historical part of Leawood, and it fits what we're going to do there with the 2 promenades. This is the north-south promenade, and you get an idea here of there's still a second story of office in this north-south building, but the kinds of activities you can have with stages, with ping pong, with Jenga, with cornhole, all the things you see where you can either work or play outside. The plan is to make sure that Wi-Fi is available on all the promenade areas so that you can log into Wi-Fi, you can work outside in a secure fashion. This is an older slide, but I just wanted to show it because it shows you some of the ideas of programming to figure out. As somebody on the Planning Commission mentioned, you're going to have to program this space so you have activities. We'll work with the chamber so there can be after-hour events there. Other things where there's activity going on, not just people coming and sitting there, but maybe some low-level, quiet concerts, things like that where people can come on a Friday afternoon and stick around. We know that people like destinations. They don't just want to come and shop and leave. They want to find a spot. I bragged about your Planning Commission in my email because the comments at the end of their deliberations were refreshing and reassuring, I think, to all of us that they talked about a sense of place, something unique, something that checked all the boxes. And that's, I think, why it was worth taking a year to do this. This is the southwestmost building on the property. And I'm showing that because this building is 3 stories, except on the south side because of the drop in the slope, you can get basically what I would call a walkout basement. It's a walkout apartment on the ground level, which is right by the water feature and the park, which makes it a very nice activated space, I think, for both people walking around there and for people that want to live there. It also is the one closest to Leawood Meadows on the south. And so we wanted to talk to you a little bit about how we considered that when we were putting this together. To the south of us is a 10-acre tract that has the majestic senior living kind of continuum of care facility planned on it now. We know that plan is not going to be built. The owner has filed one application for some cottages, residential. I think they may all have been unattached. He withdrew that. He's coming back with some twin villas and triplexes, but residential 1 to 1.5 story buildings there. So what we know is that we're going to be buffered by that from Leawood Meadows. We also looked at the distances, which I showed you, and basically the nearest house is 1.5 football fields away over there on the southwest corner, south and west of Fontana, because that house is right up near the property line. To the east, the houses are set back farther from the property line and go as far as 600 feet, which would be 2 football fields for some of these houses in here, and I think Ms. Rubin's house is one of these. That's simply a Google Street View at the end of that dead-end street where the house is, looking back north with our rendering placed in it about what would be seen from a street view. This is a rendering of the house at 4016 West 137th Terrace. It's about the second house in from Fontana. It's 185 feet, I think, from the property line to the house. So this is their backyard with the tree line that exists there today. I know I'll get criticized by somebody. This is in the summer. In the winter, those deciduous trees won't have leaves on them. Some of those trees are evergreens, but most of them are deciduous. And this, I think, is from Ms. Rubin's backyard that NSPJ took back when they represented or were working for the Majestic to do the architecture on that project. And what has been put in the background there is the original cottage plan that we thought, once it was filed, we thought was going to be the plan. And so those cottages have been put in there. And the reality, we believe, is that that plan is going to block virtually everything visible from our development. Now, if you're in your second story bedroom, you might be able to see the tops of our buildings. We haven't done that rendering. But what we also know is that these houses are about 992 to 996 feet above sea level, final finished floor elevation. The building on the southwest corner is at 1,006. So they're already 14 feet below what our finished floor elevation will be in that building that I showed you a moment ago. So I wanted to show this because we think it's important to demonstrate that we've tried to be sensitive to neighbors. There's a berm down there already, as many of you know. This area was all planned together as once, as you probably remember, when we put streets in and we issued bonds and everything else. So there's a berm that goes along the southern border. That red line is the top of the berm. This is kind of looking southwest from Fontana. This is looking southeast from Fontana. And as you see, the tree line gets fuller and thicker as you go east on that. We have elevations. They match what the renderings are, but I thought I would at least show you those to show that we've put renderings so we have an idea of materials, we have an idea of the look and the articulation of the buildings. Before I close for questions, I guess I would want to make a couple comments. I appreciate the clarification on public art because when I looked at the square, I didn't see this catch this for Planning Commission, but the square footage was way more than we have of non-residential use. Staff has fully reviewed all the golden criteria, so I'm not going to walk through those for you. I'll be happy to answer questions on them or respond to any public comments. We're consistent with your comprehensive plan. We're consistent with the 135th Street corridor. We have staff recommendation, and we come with a unanimous vote from the Planning Commission. I've never done that before, I don't think, in front of you all. So it's kind of a nice feeling to come here. But I'll tell you, we don't take it for granted, and that's why I wanted to make sure we fully went through the project. We stand for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Musel. It's a beautiful project. Mr. Hazeltine.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Musel, first of all, I love the name, Oxford Promenade. I would hope maybe in the future down the line, maybe in the clubhouse or somewhere, there'll be some little display that explains that history. That's pretty cool. And thanks for the job that you did with the neighbors, because I didn't receive a single call from Leawood Meadows, which kind of surprised me. You said, the 15% office requirement, is that last phase? You said earlier that there were some buildings where there was retail on the bottom and residential on the top and some office in the middle. How much of that, of the total requirement that was put in, is in that way? I mean, as opposed to just that last phase? Or is that in the last phase?
The office building here on the southeast corner is in the last phase.
Right.
It's 3-story and 30-some thousand square feet. Is that right? We also have one full floor of office all the way here and here.
I forgot, I can't see the numbers now on that map, but are there any of that concept that I'm talking about in the first phase or the second phase?
The first, well, we go to the phasing was first 1 and 2 were the residential or the retail up here.
Yeah.
Third was this western part. Fourth was this part, which has the office, and then fifth was this part with the office.
So it was in the fourth phase?
Yeah.
Okay. And on the promenades, I saw that you had the fence there, which is good for the cars not to know, but are there any bollards anywhere for safety?
This was an issue with the fire department about what is allowed there that can be easily and automatically released or driven through or whatever in the event they have to get there.
Right.
So the compromise we came up with was a gate. It will be a sturdy enough gate to deter people, but it won't be such that the fire department can't get in that north side if they need to. But bollards and something permanent there that you would see outside of City Hall or something is not something that's allowed because the fire department needs that access. The fire department actually has access along here from both ends, and then from down here with both ends unobstructed. The only obstruction here is that gate.
Well, what I was thinking was, that, we've never done this promenade concept before, and it's so wide. It's as wide as a street. And I would hope that, I'm guessing the fire department, probably saw this and maybe decided it wasn't necessary. But I'm just wondering if there are any areas around there where that might be, it's like after 9/11, you had a lot of places they put up bollards, and I would hope that as we get closer, that's something that is looked at.
And I think, the chief's probably here, and one of his assistants was the one that we worked through this with. the entrances that are unobstructed are not going to look like a driveway. There will be a curb there, but it will be a curb they can easily get up over.
Yeah.
And from the north end. So I
I'm
understand
not
your
so
concern. We have the same
yeah.
concern about pedestrians and somebody simply misreading and thinking they can go all the way to 137th on that north-south promenade.
Yeah, I'm not as concerned about the fire department getting in and out of there, because you know, that's been communicated, but I just, you know, I'm all about safety. And, you know, Promenade, it's big, it looks like, you know, and I also used to have teenagers at one time too. So I'm just kind of, just throwing that out there so that, just to see if it had been thought of as far as safety goes.
I think one of the things we're going to have to do on this project is get it built and then kind of look at it before it opens.
Yeah.
And I think that, I know your fire department would be willing to do that as well, and just see, are there, and your police department as far as security?
Well,
are
I
there
don't
things we
expect
can do
anything to be
better?
done, you know,
Yeah.
now, but it's just, I wanted to get that concern on the record. So thank you.
Mr. Sippel?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I really like this concept. I think it's very interesting. And I live in Ward 3, south of 135th Street, and none of my neighbors commented on this thing. They just, they were a little upset about the Majestic, but this, no comments at all. So good for you on that. I had two questions. One, Mission Road north and south of 135th Street is going to have bike lanes, and it's going to have a jogging path or a bike path on one side and a sidewalk on the other. I assume this development north of 137th will have a continuation of whatever the city puts south of 137th Street.
I'm confident that is going to be baked, is already baked in the plan. We know that Mission Road's being widened
Right.
in that project, so that's baked in.
So it won't be just a 6-foot sidewalk if there's something south of there, because that's a heavily traveled route, both with cars and bicycle enthusiasts. And so we want to make sure we've got everything to make it as safe as possible. Okay. The other thing is Caddy Corner, if that's the right term, where the Price Chopper and Blue Valley Bank is, they have deceleration lanes on the westbound 135th. One, you can go into Market Square, which is the Price Chopper, and then another deceleration lane if you want to go north on Mission at 135th. Will these deceleration lanes that you have on the north side of your project be the same length?
I don't know if they're the same length. I know that they are part of the traffic study and have been approved by your Public Works Department. There will be a deceleration lane to turn into the right, and there will be a deceleration lane at Mission Road.
Well, I'm a heavy user of that out in my area, and they work very well. I wouldn't want anything any shorter. And so I guess I'll hold that question until Public Works takes a look at it or whatever, or the traffic engineers look at it. As long as it's as lengthy as what we have on the north side of westbound 135th, Caddy Corner from your project, I'm very comfortable.
I think that's a great opportunity for me to mention that part of the stipulations is we put a third lane of 135th Street in.
Well, that's part of the deal.
There's going to be a better opportunity to move traffic so that those maybe fewer cars need to get over into that right-hand lane. But I'm not the traffic engineer. Michael Harris here if you need to talk about the length of those. But it's been traffic analyzed by the best, including your staff and your outside consultant.
I'm only concerned about it if you're going to make it shorter than the one on the opposite side of the street. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember.
Ms. Kane?
I have a number of questions, and some questions, some comments, in no specific order, because it just has to go with the scribbles that I've been, my scribbles on the Planning Commission meeting minutes. Number one, I echo, I love the name. Whoever came up with that name, A+. I thought the Oxford Schoolhouse was on the opposite side.
It was.
The north side
It was
of
on the
street.
northwest corner.
Okay, so it wasn't on this land, but close enough. Okay, so thanks for coming up with a very attractive development and super attractive name. So in no specific order, The elevations that you showed tonight are quite attractive. You're not getting any complaints. Just for the record, we like the elevations that we see tonight to match the elevations we see at final. And we had recently an experience where that wasn't happening. So for the record, gentlemen, we like what we're seeing tonight. We hope they don't change come final, because if you're getting approval with one thing and then come back for final, this council person I'll speak for is doesn't like that at all.
We may make them better, Councilmember.
Pardon?
We might
there
make
you
them
go.
better.
So-
I understand the
But
point, yes.
stipulation 4, if you read it, building elevations are not approved with this
Exactly.
preliminary
I
plan.
understand that. I'm just
Okay.
saying, I'm just making a comment. So
Okay.
I appreciate so many things about this development. I appreciate you didn't go over 4 stories. Even the density is about as high as you can push it, but the elevation is not as high. So I really appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that the retail is along 135th Street. I was very concerned that we were going to be hemmed in on 135th and everything. It's going to be like shooting the chute through 135th, because that's the way it seemed like it was going. So I appreciate that you pushed that back. I appreciated that, but I don't know that Aventino necessarily was appreciating that, and I'll get to that here in a second. I wish that there was some kind of ownership with this development, but I understand because of the nature of the buildings and what they are, that ownership would be the townhouse and the little townhouses. So I understand that. I hope for the record, the duplexes and the triplexes that sound like they're coming are ownership, but that's not you. I get that. Again, in no specific order, you did a fabulous job talking about Leawood Meadows, right? You didn't do squat when it came to Aventino. And the distance from those 4-story buildings, and there's Fontana, and then there's going to be the very expensive villas to the west, right? I talked to the Aventino folks today, for the record, and they're averaging $1.4 million to $1.5 million on the villas. And there's a number of them that will be $2 million, so they're quite expensive. And I don't think there's anything in Leawood Meadows that's anywhere near. There might be somewhat near that, but not that I'm aware of anyway. So I don't even see a sidewalk along Fontana.
There is a sidewalk there will be a sidewalk on both sides of Fontana, to my
So
understanding.
these are my questions. From the little teeny pictures, I want to make sure, number one, what is the setback from Fontana to the 4-story buildings? And you were talking about the one farthest southwest, which abuts, it's way closer to Aventino than it is Leawood Meadows.
Correct.
And that is my ward. So like James, we're careful with all of Leawood, but this is my ward. This is why I deep dived into this. So I want to know, what is the side setback, rather, and confirming there is a sidewalk on Fontana, and there is connectivity from Aventino into, and I'm not speaking for Aventino, I don't work for Aventino, I'm not paid by Aventino, none of the above. I'm just curious, because, this is not existing in a bubble.
Well, as you can see here, there is a sidewalk shown on our plan all the way down. I just zoomed in a little bit up and down here, and there are sidewalks across at each of these locations that I believe the staff report reflects they will be stamped concrete, different colors. And that's true toward the lower part as well. Now, what is the setback? 40 feet from property line to the building on the west side. We have Water One has a 10-foot easement in there as well. So that's, we've got a lot of landscaping here. We're working with trying to fit in the Water One easement on our side of the project on Fontana, and Water One wants an easement on our side on 137th. So the difficulty with that is it's hard to put landscaping in it because they don't want trees in there where their water line is. And I don't know what the setback would be for Aventino. on the west side, 30 feet minimum to the back of the house on the west side. So that's 70 feet, and then whatever the right-of-way of Fontana is, which is probably 60.
And do we know for a fact that the west side of Fontana has a sidewalk as well? So that whole stretch will have sidewalks on either side? And then.
Mr. Klein is going to respond to your question.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry. I thought you had to look it up.
No, I think it's a requirement, so.
Yes, this is collector road, so it would have on both sides.
Okay, awesome. Again, I'm just confirming this. I can't tell from these teeny-weeny drawings some of this stuff, so I appreciate these answers. And then I think that there is a buffer. You talked about the buffer of the duplexes and the triplexes to the south, but I'm not seeing a buffer to the west. So again, I'm not speaking for them, but I was the highest things, some of the highest things in your development are right across from and within, sounds like 80 feet of a $1.4 million villa that they're trying to sell those lots.
Let me make sure we're clear on one thing too, because I think now that I think about it, it's important. That southwest building will only be 3 stories as it faces Aventino. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Because the 4th story is on the south end where you have what I still call the walkout basement. So this along here is all 3 stories except for this last unit down here, which will be 4-story, and that drops about 14 to 16 feet from 135th down to this corner. So that's part of the reason why you can take advantage of the topography and not have this looming building that Aventino or a driver going down Fontana would say, like you say, you're in a canyon of some sort.
Right. So, okay, so this is the farthest corner. This 4 stories is the farthest corner, and everything else is, it starts off 1 because that's a retail building, and then it goes to 3, and except for that one corner, it's 4.
And the 3-story, the roof line stays the same all the way there. It doesn't get taller. It's just that we have a room on the bottom to put another level. If that makes sense.
So if you have 4-story, or not 4 stories, but 40 feet, then obviously there's going to be some magnificent landscaping all up and down Fontana that will make those Aventino folks
NSBJ
happier.
has always promised 40-foot mature trees from day one.
So.
No, maybe not.
Yeah, right. Sorry, I'm trying to look ahead. The retail plan, I hope it includes restaurants. Is that the plan?
It is, yes. I mean, there are talks going on now with a couple of restaurants and some other specialty stores that I can't get into, but that is the goal. I mean, this is an interesting site because between I still want to call it Ted's Montana Grill, but it's now talking to the town, and the new ramen place all the way, to state line, there really isn't a decent or even a casual sit-down restaurant.
Right.
So it seems like this is an area that is ripe for that. And I hope I'm not avoiding somebody that's in the Price Chopper Center that I'm not aware of, and I'm not trying to diss on anybody.
Pizza and a Chinese place over there, but, so I think that's all I have. But again, I wasn't speaking for Aventino. I know, because I asked specifically, did they get the letter for the Interact, and they confirmed that they got the letter. So I'm not suggesting you did anything wrong. They had the opportunity to come to the Interact meeting. They had the opportunity to come to Planning Commission. They had the opportunity to come tonight. So I just, like I said, I was just I had several questions in that regard. That's all I had. Thank you. Thank you.
This is already zoned as a retail site. So Aventino, when they came in, they knew that something commercial was going to be next to them. Whether they object more to a 3-story residential building and a mixed use than retail, I can't speak for them. We did not hear from them.
No, and they are not objecting to your, in no way, shape, or form do I want to suggest they're objecting to this development, because they are not. I just was asking, I had some
fair
questions, and thank you.
Mr. Klein, you look like you have a comment.
I just want to clarification. Mr. Musil's right as far as on that southern building that goes along Fontana, that's 3 stories, except for that end part that goes to 4 stories. However, the building to the north of it, as it turns that corner and becomes an L, that's actually 4 stories that's located there, and then it drops to 3 stories. So there is a portion that is 4 stories along there as well. I just want to make sure.
Okay, thank you for that.
Let's go back to site plan and show exactly where that is. So this building here, council member, that turns the corner, that is 4 stories. This is the 3-story that ends up with a walkout basement on this southern facade.
Thank you.
I apologize.
I would like, Mr. Osmond, I was going to say, we'll go next to, after you, to Rachel Rubin, so that she can leave. Were you? Okay. And then we can, Mr. Musil, you can respond to Ms. Rubin's comments, and then we'll take more questions from you all. So, Ms. Rubin, if you'd come forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
Hello, I'm Rachel Rubin, 3105 West 132nd Street. I guess my reputation precedes me. I'm actually here to compliment this development. I am here because this is what we wanted. You know, this is what we wanted for East Village, and we didn't get it. So I'm very complimentary of this plan. I'm complimentary of the planning they did ahead of time. They wasted no time. They did their prep work, you know, with the city. Took a year to do that. Didn't take up your time or the Planning Commission's time. They came prepared. And let me back up and say I have no relation to them, to the developer. I don't know them at all. I saw the story in the Shawnee Mission or the Blue Valley Post. So I started following this, and I saw this come out as we were having discussions about East Village. And I brought it up to Mr. Odo and his team that was like what we wanted. And I thought it was just interesting because it said in the press release that the retail was coming first. And that is not what we got from East Village. If you'll recall, they said retail is not possible without rooftops. Now we have it seems like a very qualified developer who's come in, has done their homework, and they've invested. The plan looks like they're investing a lot of money into some public amenities, the promenade, the fountains, bike racks, the electric vehicle compatibility, all those things they did up front. And I just want to say I really appreciate that. And I will say I'm very frustrated with the treatment that we got by some of you when we came and talked to you about our concerns about East Village. If this was I'm jealous. I'm actually really jealous that this is going to be, you know, not right next to us. I mean, I'll be excited to walk to this development and go out to eat. Remember we talked about, we wanted some restaurants, we wanted a coffee shop, we wanted some retail along with the residential, and we were told, no, have to have rooftops first. So that's not true. This developer is here to make money. It's going to be hopefully a very profitable project for them. And they're willing to put the retail first and make it something really neat that has the sense of place. So I'm frustrated with those of you that voted in favor of East Village. I'll start with the mayor. You know, you broke the tie at the preliminary approval, and that really set the course. At that point, we really didn't. It weakened any position at final because that was set. So I am disappointed that you didn't listen to the constituency. We had, 2,000 people who signed a petition, and we gave you very good reasons why we didn't want the version of East Village that we got. And some of you said, oh, you just don't want development, you just don't want anything. You're a NIMBY, not in my backyard. Well, I'm here to tell you that's not true. I mean, I took the time to follow this project because what I saw I really liked. This is what the 135th Street plan was all about. It was a plan like this. And I'm really frustrated that some of you didn't listen to that. And I'm frustrated that so much of our time was wasted, frankly. How many meetings, Ms. Kane said? I think 14 public meetings about East Village. They come, go to planning in March, and they're here for the preliminary 1 month later. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. I read the packet in preparation for this, and I loved the way that Mr. Musil talked to the residents, very respectful, wanted to make them happy. And I know they didn't have as many residents as East Village did. There aren't as many, but his tone, his attitude was just so professional. And so there's not much we can do, I guess, about what you already approved. And again, I'm talking to those of you that voted in favor. I'm talking to the mayor, I'm talking to Mr. Sipple, Mr. Azeltine, Ms. Villa, and Mr. Osmond. I'm talking to you, just to be very clear who I'm talking to. It's disappointing that such a large tract of land wasn't used in the best way. So that's what I wanted to say, and I wish these people a lot of luck, and we'll be excited about some new restaurants. Excited to go and shop there, and so I want to thank you for your time. I just hope you'll hear what I'm saying and take it to heart. And I wanted to thank the people that did listen to us. Ms. Larson, Ms. Kane, Ms. Harrison, and I'm forgetting somebody. I guess it was the three of you that actually voted no on the final. So, yeah, Mr. Sipple, he voted no for the preliminary, but yes for the final, which, went against the constituency. So I hope we can do better, and I hope there's more projects like this in Leawood.
Why do they think you live in Leawood Meadows?
I do not. So just to clarify, I live
Yeah.
in Waterford,
And
on 132nd. So
Yeah,
that's why I'm involved
I
in
was
traffic
aware of that.
calming.
I didn't know why that kept being stated.
Yeah,
but-
it's incorrect.
Yeah.
I don't live there. I think maybe Mr. Musil just saw me, that I signed up and was concerned that I was opposing. So I'm very much in favor. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rubin, and I concur with all the things you said about this project. We're grateful that the developer brought a project to us that is so appealing. But I said before, and I'll say again, your involvement and the residents are what made East Village a much better project. So we're keeping fingers crossed for that development as it moves forward, and certainly for this development, Mr. Musil, we hope that all the phases come in just as projected, and it will be a very nice development. We're also delighted to have more places to go to dinner. So we need that in Leawood. So thank you. Other questions for the developer or Mr. Musil from any of you? Mr. Osmond?
Move to approve.
Second?
Motion from Mr. Osmond, and I don't know if Mr. Azeltine perhaps made the second before Mr. Rawlings.
Edged him out.
There were a couple of you doing it. I do want to just say, for the record, again, 19B's edited language is here, and also over the weekend, it might have been late Friday, you received 3 words to be added to stipulation number 2. In the, if it is determined that the requirements for a deviation bonus are not met, comma, the development will not be able to use the additional building square feet associated with that deviation/bonus. So you received something from Mr. Fernandez late Friday that should have included that. So I'm assuming your motion and second included both of those
Yes.
edits. Okay, thank you. Is there any other, Mr. Musil, I should have offered you the opportunity if you wanted to say anything about Ms. Rubin's comments. All right. All right, we'll put that in the minutes. Ms. Larson?
Well, Mr. Musil knows, as any good attorney, you know when to stop speaking. But before we voted, I wanted to compliment the developer on this project. You know, it has some attributes that were missing before in other projects. I consider this to be true mixed use. That's very important to me. The pedestrian connectivity, whether we say promenade, tomato, I really love it and appreciate that. It has unique features that the pictures are beautiful. I hope the elevations stay the same or maybe improved. The art and specifically, lastly, the sense of place. This is a place that I'm excited to go to. And I think it'll be very well received by the community in this area. And thank you.
Thank you. Ms. King?
One final comment to echo we do have land left in Leawood and on 135th Street. So I hope that what comes back ultimately is more like this. And I'll leave it at that because I know when to shut up too.
Since when?
Since just now, thank you.
Put that in the minutes.
All right. If there are no further comments, roll call, please.
Councilmember Phila?
Aye.
Councilmember Rawlings?
Aye.
Councilmember Sippel?
Aye.
Councilmember Kane?
Aye.
Councilmember Azeltine?
Aye.
Councilmember Larson?
Aye.
Councilmember Osman?
Aye.
Approved unanimously. Thank you very much, Mr. Musil and your entire team. Great job, and we'll look forward to it. Thank you. All right, we now have 13B, resolution approving a final plan for Regents Park Track C residential clubhouse and amenities located south of 137th Street and west of Kenneth Road. Do we have an applicant present?
Yeah.
Good
Good
evening.
evening. Thank you. Patrick Reuter, Clover Architects, 8813 Penrose Lane, Lenexa, Kansas, 66219. Up there, thank you. All right, so we are here for the Regents Park Clubhouse to refamiliarize everyone with the development of Regents Park. We are looking at the building that is at the terminus of High Drive and 137th right here. The 135 mixed-use project to the northwest here along High Drive, 135th, and the current under construction twin villas to the south of our development. Here tonight with Rick Lashbrook as well as the developer. So just to quickly go through our site plan for this clubhouse in the pool area, serving the townhome community to the south. On the right side is all the parking, and then sidewalk access both to the drive to the east and as well as the public right-of-way on along 137th. The clubhouse and pool area itself features 2 different trellis and covered areas with grills, a double-sided fireplace that faces the main entry, a covered main entry trellis, restrooms, a pool room, grill areas, a dog park, and pickleball court for the residents. The site has significant slope. It slopes about 20 feet from west to east. So there's several different retaining walls and tiered elements to this design.
Can you back up and put that in context? Can you put that back in context of your bigger project real
Sure.
quick? Okay, thank you.
Yes. So this is a rendering. If you are heading south on High Drive, 137th would be either left or right as you go east to west. So here you can see the double-sided fireplace, some of the wood screen elements to offer some privacy but keep some open air and light to the covered area beyond. And then it is also covered with quite a few different extensive plantings along this side as well. Overall, material-wise, since we are kind of between the more traditional style twin villas and then also the more modern 135 project, we're using materials and forms from kind of both of those to influence the design to make sure it's a cohesive and transitional design. So as you can tell, the stone we're taking from the 135 mixed-use project and things like the dormered roofs and roof type, which will match the twin villas as well. This is a rendering from inside the pool area, the pool deck. So this is underneath that entry trellis as you enter into the pool area. There's, you can see kind of the double-sided fire pit beyond. So 135th Street, 137th is kind of beyond in your view there. Overall, the pool area has this kind of raised seating deck, and you can see the retaining walls as we respond to some of that site grading as we head to the west. Pool features, again, you know, some of the grill stations kind of in the back here, waterfall features and other fire pit features around the pool. The clubhouse also has extensive landscaping on all sides of it, and between our planning commission meeting and now, we also added additional evergreens along the south side. With that, I am open to any questions.
So, Mr. Reuter, it sounds like stipulation 4 and 5 you have done. I guess I'll look at Mr., and I'm seeing confirmation. So prior to governing body consideration on both of those has
Correct.
been accomplished.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we have, no comments or questions on any of the stipulations.
Okay, great. Thank you. Questions, Mr. Sipple and Ms. Phillip.
Two things I like. I like the whole concept of the see-through fireplace. I thought that was pretty slick. Compliments to you on that. Have you given any thought that is going to be an open air area behind the lattice work where the fireplaces are, so that's not going to be a year-round meeting place for people. Are you going to provide any other building for homes association meetings or neighborhood parties or things like that that are not open air?
Not at this time. We're looking at this as, obviously it is a seasonal use being a pool clubhouse.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Phillip?
Just wanted to raise the question whether you've evaluated the best place to put the pickleball court for minimizing noise to those residents. So if you have, it's kind of a 6 and 1/2, and the others, do you do the south or do you do the west? Or maybe you flip it and put it closest to the east-west roads. But anyway, I just wanted to make sure you're thinking about that, because
Yes, and that was part of the reason as well for some of the additional evergreens added between Planning Commission and now.
good, thank you.
Ms. Kane?
I too read of the consternation about the pickleball, but just for the record here, off the top of my head, Deer Creek modified a tennis court and turned it into pickleball. So did Wilshire. They have removable pickleball nets, and those are as close to residences as this is. So while I read all the consternation, it is only one single court, it looks like it to
Correct.
be. And like Wilshire has, 2 tennis courts, so split into 4 at times. Deer Creek just has 1, but they're equally close. So, but it's a very attractive building, and I thank you for bringing that before us.
Thank you.
Mr. Azeltine?
Is the pickleball court lit?
No, it'll be, sun up to sundown. So try
It
to.
will not be lit.
Correct, not
Okay.
be lit.
Okay, yeah, so that's a huge thing, I think.
And it will have to meet our sound ordinance at the property line. And I know there are different paddles and different things you can do if indeed there's remediation necessary. Ms. Larson, did you have a hand up? No. No, all right.
Move to approve
Mr. Osmond,
with the stipulation, any stipulations that are put in place?
I don't believe there were any additional ones at this point, so just as stated.
As stated.
All right, a motion for Mr. Osmond
Second.
Second from Mr. Sippel. And any further discussion? Is there a timeline for this project to be completed?
I will defer to Rick, but we have been authorized to start construction documents as soon as we get approval, so.
As soon as- okay, so tomorrow.
Imagine it'll start going up, yeah, tomorrow, basically.
Okay, great. All right, if there's no other discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. It's approved unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Reuter, and thank you, Mr. Lashbrook. It's going to be very nice development, nice addition to our community.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. We have no old business. We have no new business. So I'm going to adjourn this meeting, but I want to remind you, we have a land bank meeting immediately following this meeting. Right here.
Right here.
Right here. I believe. Right here? Yes. So this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.